Hi everyone, it's Christine, your lovable, huggable muse, and today I'm bringing you my uploads and my downloads. I just kind of wanted to go over something, you guys, about something that's been in my mind lately. I mean, everything in the media and just what I'm seeing in our social political arena has really had me saying what the title is today, that hey, I'd like to be excluded from this narrative. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are kind of feeling the same way. You're, especially if you follow the law of attraction or you believe you create your own reality, I'm sure you're just kind of thinking to yourself, wait a minute, whose narrative is this anyways? I mean, is it my own experience or is it literally someone else's? And the answer is actually both. I mean, in the end, you guys, whether or not you like it or not, we are all part of the collective. We have our own personal experiences in life, and we're also seeing the experiences of other people. Even the ones that are awake right now, although we can escape to different realities, I mean, life has it where we eventually have to interact with other people because of work or family or whatever it is you have going on. I mean, literally, so I'll probably get into this a little bit deeper, but when we all decided to come to this earth, it was actually a conscious choice we had made before we came here. When we all decided that, we also decided that we would have certain lives that we chose to live or certain situations that we chose to be in. So, and the only difference is once we came to this earth, we just no longer have the recollections of memories of that decision. So, and basically to me, I mean, unless you're deciding to be a monk or live in the Himalayas, which I'm sure most of us really don't see ourselves doing, we're gonna have these interactions. I mean, we're gonna have interactions and experiences with a capital E with people. And the kind of experiences that we have with them really just depends on us and not so much them. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but really one of the things I have learned is that we always, always, always have full control of how we react to others. I mean, we might not be in control of their actions at all, but we're always in control of how we perceive them in our heads. And you know what? The trick is, are we using our perceptions to make that person a more positive experience in our lives, or are we perceiving them in ways that add more negative experiences? I mean, one thing I do believe, especially after, following the law of attraction and understanding more about source and being in alignment, is that people have pretty much been using their co-creative powers more than ever, especially now, you guys. We're really trying to create the reality we're seeing around us right now. I mean, I see people pretty much going back and forth online. It's somewhat of a circus. I mean, with everyone trying so hard to make their own experience, capital E, be the experience that the rest of the collective experiences. And I also am seeing that some of you guys out there are sometimes being caught in this reality loop. And I'm guilty of this too. That's why I'm even bringing it up, you guys. If you ever hear me say something and you're like, well, who do she think she is by saying this? When I bring it up, it's usually because it's something I'm experiencing myself. And it's just something that, starts to say, hey, maybe you can share this with other people and you can kind of share how you're dealing with it. So, I mean, this is not excluding myself, you guys. We're being caught in other people's reality loops. And pretty much we're wondering all these things about what's real, who's lying, who's telling the truth, or is this a conspiracy? And what I'm challenging you guys today to do is pretty much just, you guys, stay close to your source and just, take your power back. Maintain that and keep it. So take your power back, everyone. And, I'm sure this is not so much in the media or just what we're experiencing around us, but there's a lot of these things going on that are giving us these knee-jerk reactions, And for those who follow the law of attraction or just believe you guys create your own realities, I mean, I think that you might feel the need to kind of shut out all this information and the things you don't really want to see. And we just all kind of just want to hope that it'll all just go away. And even though you do this, you're still realizing that, wow, even though I'm trying not to look at it, or I'm turning off the TV, or whatever you're doing to ignore the situation, you still find that the situation will come up in someone else or another situation or another post or feed. It's almost as if you can't really get away from that thing you don't want, even though you're saying to yourself, well, I'm not trying to attract this. But in The Vortex, a book written by Abraham Hicks, which I will post a link down below, and I think I have a little picture up here, she basically is saying, she talks about like how running away from what you don't want still in a way acknowledges that negative something in your experience. I mean, here, I brought an example for you guys because I like to have my little props. So basically, imagine this being your mind and the rocks in here being your thoughts. So the glass is just your reality and the rocks are just the thoughts that kind of create the whole, right? So, you're going to be putting these ideas in your head, good or bad. It doesn't even matter, positive or negative, what we want, what we don't want. So you're going to be saying, I don't want this, I don't want this, and I don't want this. And even though you think you're taking it out of your life because you're saying you don't want it, I mean, they're still existing in your reality because you put it there. So what Abraham Hicks actually just suggests for us, for the most part, is rather than putting those ideas in there, I mean, just continue to put in the things that you do want to see. And I probably should put in some positive things too, like I love my life, I love my family, I love my job. And, that just basically makes your experience a little bit more true to what you really want out of it, right? Rather than just focusing on the negative. There's ways to maybe take that negative idea and maybe look at it in a different way. And we can kind of delve into that if you want, you guys, if you find this interesting at all, let me know what your thoughts are, and definitely we'll address that for you. So, especially when it comes to other people, I mean, oftentimes, okay, guys, I'm even guilty of this, okay, that I'm guilty of seeing things in other people that I personally don't want to see, and sometimes it's a cop-out, not only just for them, but for you as well, because if you're always looking at a person and saying this person is this way or this person is this way, I mean, all you're ever going to see and experience is the reality of what you created for that person, right? I mean, and likewise, if you're somewhat caught in someone else's reality loop about you, I mean, you're going to start believing that you are something that you're really not. I mean, because the reality of the matter is, you guys, Source is the only thing that can tell you who you are, who you really are, and what you really want. So, you're going to I mean, if you start feeding into those other reality loops of other people, you're going to start to have behaviors and thoughts that are going to be totally out of alignment of yourself. And how are you going to know that? I mean, emotions are just the best telltale signs, you guys. I mean, you're just not going to feel good. Anything that's going to give you these low-lying, negative, sick to the stomach feelings, they're just going to be indicators that you're out of alignment and not connected to your source. So, I mean, then you're going to kind of ask yourself, and you're probably asking, okay, Christine, how do you get back into alignment and reconnect with source? Well, you guys, I'm sure there's so many paths out there, and this is where I really think, your freedom and your individuality is where all that comes into play. I mean, that's really all up to you, Everyone has their own way of reconnecting to source through meditation, prayer, yoga, ecstatic dancing, which has become one of my favorites lately. I mean, the hows and the whys aren't as important to source because, you know, we are all having our own experiences on this planet. And I encourage you guys, if you haven't necessarily figured that out yet, to definitely go out there and get connected to your inner self and find out what that is. I mean, one of the things I always find is the most important question of all in all of this is pretty much what the caterpillar keeps asking Alice in Wonderland. You know, she just asks, "Who are you?" And when you guys can answer that, I think that's when everything else really starts to come and fall into place. Okay, so I'm going to be posting. I know sometimes trying to find a path or a way that works for you isn't always easy. So I always try to give you some examples that work for me. I do this meditation in the morning. It's from Abraham Hicks, and she basically opens you up to the vortex. And it's just a great way to get centered, to really like get centered to your inner core. I find myself kind of just, you can do a lot of ways. I mean, if you have any kind of question you want answered, or just, you want to ask yourself, hey, what do you think about this? Literally, you can ask yourself that. Or you could just, just sit in silence and just be at peace with yourself. You can do with this whatever you choose. So I'm going to post that video below. I always like to spend my last few minutes with you guys just kind of, doing that quick reset with you, because I know sometimes some of my information can be overwhelming, or, it can be a little bit out there. So I always want to kind of do a quick little reset with you guys and just tell you, to kind of come back to your center. If anything I had upset you at all, or if something sparked something in you, if it upset you, let's, peacefully go back to our center and realize our truth, you guys, and go and just realize what is true in the message. What can I disregard? Because this message isn't for everyone, you guys. This might only be for you, and maybe only tidbits of it might make any sense to you. And that's just the beauty of just doing self-exploration, is you can say, hey, I like this, I don't like this, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. And we have that freedom, you guys, to accept and reject whatever messages that comes into our hearts. So, if something I say works, embrace that and go deeper in that. If something I say just rubs you the wrong way, just same thing, go back to your core, go back to yourself and say, hey, first of all, why does this even bother me? Is there any truth in this? If there isn't, what is my truth? Those are just amazing questions to ask yourselves today. And that is my journey and pretty much my charge for you guys, just to kind of share my experiences with you and hope it kind of sparks something in you to kind of set you off on your journey. So thank you so much for sharing your time with me, you guys. I absolutely... so a lot of times I record this, but I definitely, and we all have this ability, guys. I definitely, feel spirit kind of funneling through me and just pushing out and just wanting to reach out to all of you guys. So to me, it's just an amazing journey. I absolutely love sharing and connecting with all of you. It is a beautiful thing. I hope that some of you guys can open your hearts to experience that as well. So thank you so much for coming out and joining me today, guys. You have an amazing day. Bye-bye.